moving forward, let's look at Group D. Obviously, Denmark drawing with Tunisia. France having that big comeback win against Australia. General thoughts here. Let's start with Denmark-Tunisia quickly, Nick. That was an interesting game. I think Tunisia took it to Denmark. We didn't quite expect that. There was a drama late on with, was it a handball, VAR, penalty? But, you know, Denmark, a lot of people saw them as dark horses, but maybe we just got shown going forward. Again, they don't really have that clinical edge. That's the thing missing for them as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they're back heavy. I really do. We saw a great save from Schmeichel. They have 3 excellent center backs. I love Christensen. I think we've talked to him a lot about on the Premier League show from Leeds. But again, I kind of look at their team and say, if it's not going to come from Christian Eriksen, who's not a forward, where is it going to reliably come from, the danger? And I think that's very scary for them. And the other thing that was noticeable for me, and I may say his name wrong, so please forgive me, is I think the first candidate for breakout player of the tournament, or at least one that people aren't that familiar with, is Aissa Ladouni. Not sure I'm saying it right, but that man was like, I don't know, in ways he played like N'Golo Kante, if N'Golo Kante was also like super imposing and huge, and he had a terrifying look on his face the whole game. And I thought, that is a guy who can do business in the Premier League.
Yeah, he just kept holding the ball, just kept winning it back and running forward and dribbling past people. It was, incredible to watch. But Denmark got some work to do now, especially seeing France's comeback, Andy. I mean, Australia go 1-0 up early. You thought, the Socceroos are going to pull off a big shock here. But the way that France just turned it on, that sparked them into life, didn't it? And Giroud getting his 2 goals, so he's equaled Thierry Henry's all-time scoring record for France, 51 he's on now. Yeah. And then Mbappe heading home from the lovely cross, obviously, from Dembele. And it's great stuff, right? I mean, overall, that Dembele, Griezmann, Mbappe, Giroud. I mean, we shouldn't be too worried, even though they lost Benzema and Nkunku ahead of the tournament. But those 4 were really cooking. But it was Australia. They were a decent team to start with. Could have gone in 2-2 at half-time. They hit the post. Worked hard, but just tired massively towards the end. And then France's quality came through. So what did you make of France in their opening game? The defending champs, by the way.
Yeah. With all due respect to Australia, this is the only game against Australia or in Australia that France are going to get. And so I think, one, obviously getting it straight out of the gate, given the injuries that they've had of late, I was probably very, very helpful for them. They did not start well. Obviously, they go a goal down, but they started really, really slow and apprehensive, felt like the word. The 2-man midfield, I think this was an Australia tactical thing. We only need 2 in the center to kind of control things. We can control the ball, keep it, get it to the 4 up top. I don't think we'll see all 4 of them start maybe another game at this tournament. So it's going to look a little bit different. And Didier Deschamps is really going to have to figure that midfield out, because Adrien Rabiot, I know we got a goal. And Tchouaméni in there together, I think it's strong, but they need something else. I think they need somebody who's gonna create a little bit more up top, because it's not going to come as easy against Tunisia, against Denmark, and obviously into the knockout rounds.
Absolutely. Mentioned Denmark there, Nick. France Denmark is the next game in Group D for those 2 teams. I mean, obviously France are a powerhouse. Denmark are an emerging powerhouse, right? Reached the semi-finals of the Euros, breezed through qualifying, some quality players. What do we make of those 2 teams heading into that clash? And have we just seen things in these 2 games, even though France won, Denmark nearly got by Tunisia? Have we seen things that really put a bit of a mark against their name as them going really, really far in this tournament?
Well, I mentioned Denmark's back 3, and I'm going to throw the other names in there. Højbjerg, who we talk about all the time, and we don't know Thomas Delaney's status right now, who obviously checked out of that game. But there was a player out there. It's funny. Giroud kind of played the Benzema role, and who played the Paul Pogba role to a T was Antoine Griezmann. Was absolutely magnificent. And again, I know they were playing Australia, but this was an 88-touch, 6-pass, connecting on 5 of 6 crosses, and was registered as, quote unquote, 3 big chances while getting 3 shots off. He looks like a guy who was limited to 45 minutes until Athletic could completely buy out his contract. He looks fresh, and I thought he looked like the guy who, for so many years when we watched him play at La Liga, was always like, I wonder if he'll go somewhere else. He looked that good, I thought.
Yeah, definitely. it's interesting. Still so early in the tournament that we're making these big judgment calls, but you could just tell even during the games, France and Denmark were just warming up and just clicking through the gears. So it's going to be a great game when they clash in Group D. Head over to PST, where we cover all the latest team news, preview, how to watch information ahead of that big game, and all the action around the World Cup.